Roofing is a grand and magnificent part of carpentry, which is in a world all its own. It's one of the most technical components of all buildings, protecting them from seasonal elements, even sunlight. From generation to generation, carpenters have always weatherproofed the roofs they've built. Today on Built to Last, we're going to take a look at shingling a roof.
Built to Last is sponsored by Unico Incorporated, manufacturers of the small duct high-velocity HVAC Unico system. Unico is dedicated to the environment and has been serving residential and commercial customers around the corner and around the globe for more than 25 years.
Great Northern Lumber, providing green construction materials from skyscrapers to residential remodel. Proud to serve you for the last 27 years and into the future in the lumber industry.
The roof of a building has two main parts. One is the supportive structure that's actually constructed during the framing process. And the second is an outer skin, which is actually the waterproof outside layer. Today, there are materials available on the market that will do more than just keep the rain out.
Roofing has progressed over a number of years. Some of the original products that were used were cedar shake. It was something that was readily available, and it's something that's still used today. Another product that was also commonly used would be natural stone, but it has now changed, and more commonly used is an asphalt shingle. Asphalt's been around for better than 100 years. It is something that primarily was very plain, very simple, very easy. But now it has changed so that you've got a bunch of different styles and a bunch of different colors and designs that can actually enhance the architectural design of the home that it's going to be applied to.
The design of the shingle, there's many different shapes. I know that we have over 17 different flavors, varieties, if you will, and that again has given a cottage look, if that's what you want, to a grand manor type of shingle that really gives a stately look to your project.
Some of the newer inventions that are out into roofing are the composite slates. For example, it's basically mimicking the natural stone look, which has been around for a number of years. This is something that is now gaining more acceptance into the marketplace, and it is giving a different look onto the roof for a consumer. Along with mimicking natural stone products, there are also products out in the marketplace that are now very much looking like cedar shake, so it's basically going back to what the original roofing products were. The advantage for a composite cedar shake look is that there's less cost involved. There's also less maintenance compared to a natural cedar shake roof, which you're going to have to maintain yearly or every other year. The most common roofing material used today is an asphalt shingle. An asphalt shingle is comprised of a fiberglass mat that is impregnated with asphalt that then has a coating of granules. The primary goal for the shingle is obviously to keep water and ice and other material outside of the house. There are a whole host of roofing products that a homeowner may choose from, be it natural, be it composite, be it an asphalt shingle. However, proper installation is critical to the longevity of the roof.
You know, installing the roof correctly in the first place, getting the proper underlayments, understanding the weather conditions that affect things, especially in this area where we're so prone to icing backups in the winter time. We also suffer from tornadoes here, which is not as bad as hurricanes, but plenty bad enough. And so you have to be prepared for wind-driven rain also. So it's your basic steep slope roof relies on the principle of shedding water, as opposed to a flat roof, which has to be able to hold ponding water as well in most cases. So things don't get sealed together on a shingle roof. As I say, we just shed it off the roof. But when you get an ice dam situation, or you get a real hard driving wind, like when we get a tornado comes in this area and water is just blowing sideways and it's shooting in up between those shingles. You have to have adequate underlayment considerations and flashing situations to accommodate that.
This project requires a complete tear-off of the old roof before the new one is installed. Preparation for the tear-off includes covering the grounds with tarps to protect the area from falling debris. Next, ladders are set up to provide access to the roof.
We're going to talk a little bit about ladder safety and how to set it up properly. Okay, first you want to set the ladder up onto the house or whatever you're working on, what structure you're working on. You want to lean it against the house, and a guideline, which there's a decal on the side of the ladder. Most ladders, if it's still there, will have a decal that shows you the proper angle of setting up the ladder. What that is you put the feet to your front of your feet, and you reach out and you can touch the rungs. That's the perfect angle of a ladder being set up. You want to set it up like that. You want to make sure that you can use the feet like this to make sure there is rubber on the bottom. Or on a muddy surface or a dirt surface, you can turn the claws in like that and dig it into the ground. Put them both firmly on the ground, do the angle, you climb up. It's got to be 3 feet above the eave, and you tie it off on the eave.
Because of the heights in which they work and the various pitches of roofs, safety is a large concern. The carpenters use fall protection gear to ensure safety and to catch them in case of an accidental fall.
All right, we're going to talk about fall protection. The first thing you need to do is get your anchor point on top of the roof. Once you have that, you hook your rope to it. You got your rope hooked up. And then you attach your rope grab. And with the rope grab, you don't want to allow yourself to fall more than 6 feet. So you got to have that in place. This is your shock absorbing lanyard. That's going to hook to your full body harness. Here's your full body harness. It's very easy to put on. You just want to grab the 2 shoulder straps like this, take it around, put on one shoulder, put it on the other shoulder, and you have your chest strap here. You hook this like this. You have your 2 leg straps. You take it and you hook it through your leg like that, through the other leg. And that's how your full body harness should look. This should be right here at chest height, okay? Then you'll take your lanyard, give yourself enough slack, hook it onto your D-ring in the middle of your back. You're all set up.
OSHA mandated the Interim Fall Protection Act, and so since that time, about, I think it was 97 or 96 or 97, that went into effect. And since that time, that's come to be the most common safety measure used on a roof.
Toe boards will prevent people and material from sliding from the roof. These are composed of 2 parts, a metal bracket nailed down on tar lines of the shingle, and a board, usually a 2x6, which is slid into the bracket.
Now when you get on the roof, you'll shingle, you'll put 3 layers of shingles on. You'll nail these hooks in place and put this board on. That's off the ladder on a steep roof like this. Then, once you shingle up as far as you can reach, then we're going to install 2 new roof hooks and put a toe board in. And I'll show you how to do that. How you do that is put the fasteners in. And like I said, you don't want to space this out more than 4 feet. Now we can take the board, turn it into your hooks, and now we can go up to the next level. And as we're working on the roof, we can keep moving up just like that.
Once the old shingles have been removed, the carpenters inspect the roof deck for damage, wood rot, and holes. The carpenters make the repairs by pounding or pulling old nails and even re-nailing some areas if necessary. The roofing products arrive on site at a predetermined time and are offloaded to the roof. This truck has a boom that lifts each pallet of shingles, and the carpenters place them in strategic areas of the roof. In the past, the carpenters would carry the shingles up the ladder on their shoulders, called humping. Nowadays, conveyors, lulls, or delivery trucks with booms make short work of loading roofing materials.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about underlayment. What I have here is ice and water shield. It's a self-adhering underlayment that's used along the eaves and the valleys of roofs. And we also have felt paper, which comes in different weights. This is a 15-pound felt. There's also a 30-pound and 43-pound. Okay? And we also have drip edge. Once you put the underlayment on, this will run along the rake edge of the roof.
We've all seen icicles hanging over gutters and roof eaves, but don't pay much attention to them because of the season. To the trained carpenter, this could be an ice dam and could mean an extreme situation that can cause the roofing system to fail with severe consequences. The first line of defense is an ice and water shield made from a rubber membrane with an adhesive back with a very smooth front side. This acts as a gasket to seal and prevent ice buildup. If correctly installed, it can be a deterrent to ice dams.
Okay, first we're going to start with the ice and water shield. Well, you have to take off the backing, you peel it off. Comes in two sections so it's easy to lay in a valley. I'm going to take that off, and then we're going to install it on the eave. What we do is we put it on there and we'll overhang it 2 inches so we can wrap it down on the fascia. Now when you install this, you can just smooth it out. You want to put just enough fasteners in it to hold it in place. If on a windy day you might have to use more, like what we're doing, I can use 2, and that's going to hold it in place. Once that's on, the gutter flashing can be installed just like that. The gutter goes up underneath there, and what this does now is it protects against ice damming.
Carpenters lay a heavy paper that has been impregnated with tar and is used as an underlayment for waterproofing. This felt underlayment is fastened to the roof deck using slap staplers. After all the prep work is completed, installation of the shingles can begin. Shingles will be exposed to all sorts of weather, from below zero temperatures to extreme dry heat, rain, and high winds. Carpenters will use their training and skill to protect the home from the elements for years to come.
Number one, they've got to be able to walk on the roof and, get comfortable with being on there. They have to be able to look at it and size it up and determine what they need to do. And just to have a general knowledge of how to handle the different situations. It's more to it than just putting up the ladder and going up there. And the basic thing with I don't care what you're dealing with, what really takes the time is thinking. If you know what you want to do, everything is boom, boom, boom. But when you're stepping into a new theater and you're not sure how to handle this, and you're sitting there and you're just, what am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with that? You want to look at that in the first place before you ever start and ask yourself, where do I want to finish? What do I want this to look like when I'm done? Not just start nailing shingles on, it ain't where I wanted this to be. You got to think about it in advance where you're going to have your little pieces, your big pieces, and how your flashings are going to fit and what needs to go in first. And it's a lot to think about.
This is a roofing hatchet. It has what's called a gauge. It has on both sides. It's a gauge of 5 inches. If you hook the bottom shingle and bring the next shingle down to the top of that, that's a perfect 5-inch every time. And it also has a blade on the end. So you can cut, this is good, really good for cutting the back of the shingle. It's not as good for cutting the front. If you want to cut the front, you want to use what's called a hook blade. What that does is that allows you to cut the granule side of the shingles, and you can even cut it on top of other shingles without cutting what's underneath. So you're going to hook it and pull it towards you, and you can cut without cutting underneath. And I also like to carry a straight blade for cutting the back of the shingle, just like I do with the hatchet.
Starter shingles are installed along the eaves of the roof line, allowing for just the right amount of overhang.
Now we're going to start installing the shingles. First, I'm going to start out, I'm going to show you how to get some straight lines for your starter along the eave and your starter along the rake. Okay, I have starter strips cut. What I do is I take that measurement, I give myself an inch overhang, and I'm going to make a mark here and here. Chalk one line from my eave starter.
These carpenters use slap staplers to temporarily fasten the starter shingles to the roof. To securely fasten the shingles, a coil nail gun is used. The nail gun is a high-speed tool that uses compressed air to power it. Nail guns have greatly increased the average speed of the carpenter compared to using a roofing hatchet and rolling nails by hand.
If you're going to hold a large nail, you're going to hold it like this and drive the nail. With the roofing nails, they're so small, you want to hold, what I do is I hold a few of my, about that many in my hand at one time, and I'll take my thumb and I'll push it into my fingers like that and turn it and hold it like that. I'm going to show you how you can do it fast. Okay, you're going to turn it like that.
The flashing is usually a metal material, and it is where the roof deck hits a wall or other protrusion through the roof. It's very important because I don't care how good a job you do with the shingles, if the flashing leaks, the roof leaks. And that's usually the places where it's going to leak, is wherever any two things come together.
There are two types of roof-to-wall applications with flashings. This is an actual roof-to-wall where the wall comes up on the face of the shingles. We use a continuous piece of flashing for that. Now when you come into a situation like this where the shingles are going in this way, you can't use a continuous piece of flashing, because if you did that and you put it up in there, water will come down here and hit the tops of these shingles and travel sideways. So what we do is we put in what's called step flashing or baby tins. And they're woven in with the shingles as you install the shingles. You put one in each shingle, just like that. And I'm going to show you how it's done. First, before you even shingle, you have to, underlayment goes up the wall. Put the underlayment up the wall, install your shingles, and as you're installing the shingles, this baby tin's already installed. This shingle I would install, then I would slide the baby tin underneath it, lift this tab up, and put one fastener as far away from the wall as I can. And then the next one would go with the next shingle, just like that. And another fastener. Just like that. And you keep going up the wall just like that, and that way you're not letting any water get into the roof like that.
The first step of the shingle process is cutting a book. Starter shingles are cut to a pattern to offset the tab laps and thus prevent leakage.
The reason why you cut the stair step is I put a full shingle here. If I was to put another full shingle down there, then you're going to have your joints and they're going to line up, and that's not good. So each shingle it's called a 3-in-1 shingle. There's 12-inch tabs on each shingle. Each tab is divided into 6 inches with pull tabs at the top. That's where you take a guide and you cut your shingles on your 6-inch stagger. So what I did is I cut the first shingle 6 inches smaller by that tab, and now I'm going to install it. And when you're fastening it, there's a certain spot where you need to put the fasteners. You want to put it right above each cutout, within 1 inch, and at 3/8 inch above the cutout itself. So you want to install it right like that. Each full shingle gets 4 fasteners. And now that this one's cut down, it gets 3. Now we're going to go to the next one, and this is a roofing hatchet. It has a 5-inch gauge on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this gauge, I'm going to hook it to the bottom of the shingle, and I'm going to take my next shingle and I'm going to run it right down to my hammer. That gives me my 5-inch exposure. And I'm going to do it on both sides, just like so. And I'm going to line it up with this edge over here, and I'm going to put my fasteners on exactly the way I told you before. You want it right above each and within an inch of the edge, just like so. Okay? That's what's called the deuce. We have a 1.5 deuces, we have a deuce. Now we're going to go with the 1.8. I'm going to gauge it just like before. I'm going to gauge on that side, turn my hammer over, gauge on that side. Make sure it's perfect. And you can run a whole roof this way. No matter how big the roof is, as long as you're gauging properly, you can run it that way. Some guys, it's somebody that just started out, you can use control lines. So you can chalk lines every 5 inches horizontally across the roof, and then you don't have to use your gauge. Or you can chalk every 10 inches or every 15 just to make sure you're staying straight. Okay? But a professional should be able to use his gauge and be able to gauge all the way up the roof and across. See, and we're just going to keep doing this in a stair-step manner, just like that.
This roof has a ridge vent that runs the length of the roof. It includes a plastic woven continuous member that the ridge shingles are fastened to. This allows for attic ventilation.
The green aspects, actually, I think that we have incorporated fiberglass into the products more that help with the durability, but also we look at where the industry's going, and we have a new product called Solaris that actually the granule is cut and shaped in a way and then coated that it's able to reflect up to 20 degrees off the roof deck, which again is a great energy savings. And we also look at some photovoltaic type of shingles that are coming out in the near future that can actually take that solar energy and harness it and help reduce your energy costs for the years. This type of shingle actually has a granule that's shaped in a different way and coated, so it's actually able to reflect up to 20 degrees of the heat that hits your roof deck. As we look at these types of shingles that reflect more of the heat gain in the roof deck, you see a lighter type of green shingle and a darker brown. They'll still closely both achieve the same result by reducing the heat load by 20 degrees on your roof deck. Your real gains with this type of product are during high solar loads, the summer months, and in areas where you're going to have more cooling days and heating days.
Throughout the years, roofing products have changed dramatically. New products and techniques have extended the life expectancy of most roofs up to 30 years and beyond. And now with the roof on, it's time to seal up the rough openings with windows and doors. I'm Jana Peterson, and I'll see you next time on Built to Last.
Visit the Built to Last website to learn about these topics and more.
Built to Last is sponsored by Unico Incorporated, manufacturers of the small duct high-velocity HVAC Unico system. Unico is dedicated to the environment and has been serving residential and commercial customers around the corner and around the globe for more than 25 years.
Great Northern Lumber, providing green construction materials from skyscrapers to residential remodel. Proud to serve you for the last 27 years and into the future in the lumber industry.